Serious, in the spirit of October, what's the creepiest or most paranormal experience that has happened to you? Once when I was about 3 to 4, my grandpa had died, and when we came back home and we were going to bed, all of my toys I had at the time, even the ones without batteries, started talking in a weird distorted manner. I had a lot of toys at the time, and it got louder and louder and then it stopped. All I remember after that is me not going to sleep. One time, I was up late gaming. I decided to grab my headphones from my room, decided to look down the hall before walking. I saw a face staring back at me. I got a little closer, turned on my hall light first, and it was gone. I've had this happen several times, like if I'm laying in bed I'll see a face in my clothes, or if I'm going up the stairs and check behind me to make sure I don't forget anything. I swear I see something move just barely to not be spotted. Between the ages of 5 and 7, I'd occasionally see shadows walking across my bedroom wall at night. Imagine someone making shadow animals, but instead it's these things that seem human-shaped, but something is off about them. The room my brother and I slept in was always darker than the rest of the place because the street lights were blocked by an angle and a thick hedge outside of the window. However, I'd still see these things because they would always be outlined in a faint glowing yellow or blue light. The yellow ones ignored me like they were just passing through. The blue ones liked to fuck with me, though. Usually they'd turn their head towards me and gave off this feeling of menace, or travel around the walls towards me laying in my bed as if they were coming for me. They'd move in this eerie way that looked like someone slowing progressing a film frame by frame. The night when they did get me was last night I ever saw any of them. I never noticed if they had facial feature prior to one extending its head from the wall above me and then contorting so it could lean over to grin in my face. It looked like a child's drawing of a monster face, but every line of its features had the same blue glow that outlined its body. I didn't scream, I just ran. I ran to my father sleeping in the living room, and he basically told me to fuck off. With no other option, I snuck into my grandmother's room and hid in her closet among the mothballed blankets and sheets until morning. My granddad. Our close family friend Fred that passed early in the morning after a nice Halloween party at our house. Passed him in the hall that morning and he said, "Good morning, I'm a bit tired and I'm going to lay back down," and he passed. Nothing either first responders could do. See, Fred was an older gentleman and now he wanders our house and makes his presence known. Our cat sees him in the hallway from time to time. Usually around 11 p.m., smoke alarms will randomly go off. Fred was a firefighter. We find picture off the wall and on the floor and unbroken. Random laughter and voices. Was a producer in a cheap music studio. Had on headphones and was running the board while the talent was in the other room recording vocal tracks. He finishes, I rewind the tape, play back, and hear a blood-curdling scream coming into my ears. I switch off the tape and talk into the mic to the talent. "Did you hear that?" "No, what?" I rewind the tape and play again, and it's the normal expected music. Never happened again. Edit, should add, it was a studio where I regularly saw a small girl going down the hall and disappearing. No one else was there, especially children, and I would leave a room, turn off the lights, and come back with lights blazing and things on. Previous occupant of the space had apparently had issues with the law, as evidenced once by a detective card stuck in the door jamb when I came to work, and evidence around the door lock of it having been kicked in, patched up, and replaced in the past. Who knows? One day I was walking home from school and had just got onto my estate. We lived in a cul-de-sac at the time, and as I approached our turning I saw a lady on the bike coming towards me. When she spotted me, she got off her bike and began slowly walking, staring at me the whole time. I carried on walking towards my house, slightly creeped out but thinking maybe she thought she knew me. I went inside, made myself a drink and went into the living room to watch some TV. And there this lady was, stood outside our house just past the front lawn, talking on her mobile phone and looking towards our house. At this point I was so spooked. I shouted my brother in a panic, and when he came down to look, she was gone. He went outside, looked down the street, nothing. He even went up and down the whole estate a couple of times after I told him I wasn't making it up, and he could see how spooked I was, and saw no lady with a bike. The time it took for my brother to come into the living room after I shouted him was literally a few seconds. She disappeared. I was creeped out for weeks whenever I was alone. When I was about 16 or so, I went to a friend's house to hang out with our group. We were watching TV on the living room, and on top of the TV he had like this cactus toy holding a guitar and a mariachi's hat. Suddenly it started singing and moving. We all stared at each other and turned it off, didn't think much of it. About 15 minutes later it started doing it again. My friend went to the toy, turned it off and placed it in a cabinet in the kitchen. A good hour goes by and we forgot our little friend was still in the cabinet. We were upstairs and we heard the music again. I don't believe in paranormal stuff, but we were freaking out, so we went downstairs, checked the cabinet, and the toy was dancing and playing its music again, so my friend just removed the batteries and threw it on a table. At this point we thought, well, it certainly won't happen again, right? Wrong. The little guy immediately started doing it again. We took it and threw it to the street. From that day onwards my friend told us every night someone would try to grab him by the feet at night or remove the blankets, and his brother would wake up with scratches or like claw marks on his body. I never went to his house again.